Hello, this is Pastor Sidney of the All Faith Church of Liberation. I want to extend a welcome to everyone from the past we've talked to and everyone in the future we will talk to. And today I want to talk specifically to someone who has meant a lot to me, a lot to people in my church, a lot of people in my city, in my community, in my whole country and world. Minister Louis Farrakhan. Minister Louis Farrakhan, greetings. You are an inspiration to us of all colors and nationalities and languages from going back decades. And in the same spirit as I was speaking to Pastor Greg Locke earlier this week, I am going to offer a slight amount of critique, but overall only to increase the greatness of what you've been able to do. Let me just say what it is. There was a thing that was brought to your attention by someone in your organization a few years ago about the Babylonian Talmud having some very negative words in it, some very something about poking someone in the eye or do something evil to a child, or some kind of terrible thing. And I think I need to let everyone know. And minister, if you ever want to think about it this way, you may already know this, but just in case, there are two schools of thought being played with in the Babylonian Talmud, and the Jerusalem Talmud too. And this is a thing that people in exile for hundreds and thousands of years, their people would get together and write something, and then they'd write around to something, and they'd write around to something. So if you open the book, there'll be all these notes and notes and notes going back everyone's debate, inviting you, the reader, and your friends and your family to debate with them. Now there are two great schools of thought being represented: the Shammai, Beit Shammai, and Beit Hillel. Hillel is usually the rabbi who says really gracious and loving things. He brings people in. He tries to be very lenient toward the people and really pro-women in various other ways. And Shammai was very strict, and would say very, very, out there things almost, to like slam home what they were trying to get across. And the strict versus the more gentle, loving, versus the strict and trying to be righteous. These are the two polarities going back and forth through these books. And what I believe, minister, was brought to your attention by someone perhaps who didn't really want you to have the full story, took a quote out of context from the Shammai rabbis and what they said, and probably didn't tell you anything of what was said. And I'll tell you this, friend, and I say friend because I love you, and I'm praying that the rifts in the community, the population of our world, will stop. Because there's been a systematic effort of the devil to divide all communities since 1914, but surely since the 90s, the Jewish and black communities is surely in the Crown Point, the Crown Heights incidents that was going on in the early 90s, and many other examples where there's been a lot of interest in making black people who are and Jewish people have problems with each other. And I'm trying to solve that because what you have represented, and your teacher, Elijah Muhammad, God bless him, the Honorable, and his teacher, who literally, I believe also, was God. When we do our Salah, we face the east in our church. We're not a very large church, but we are trying to bring together all the different gifts from all the different communities together. We have friends in our community who could have joined with the Nation of Islam, but for a variety of reasons didn't, and for a variety of reasons sometimes are not allowed to. There are people in my community who respect the ministry of Minister Farrakhan and a lot of the traditions before it, but have, for a variety of reasons, if they're queer, say, or sex workers, or there's all kinds of people who unfortunately are not right now able to join with the nation. But that's another point. My point to get across to you is to realize that they're trying to use you, and I mean the devil is trying to use whoever's trying to use you, whether it be government or any other kind of thing that's trying to hurt your ministry. If you see that quote that you saw a few years ago, I looked it up because you were kind enough to say where to find it. And I looked up the Babylonian Talmud, I looked it up, I read about it. It was the nasty man, if you forgive me. Maybe there'll be people in the community who get mad at me now for saying that Shammai is kind of nasty. Compared to Hillel, Hillel is kind. There's kindness in it. Not that it always rules, but most Jewish people, if they're thinking about it, they're going to go with the Hillel, Beit Hillel concepts. What was quoted out of context about something very evil, I can't even remember what it was. If you look at the place where you had put it, I went in the page before and the page after, I saw this debate, and I learned more about it myself, And that was set up, friend, to make you seem like a bigot when you're not a bigot. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. Okay? And there's a lot of people of all colors and all faiths that love you still. And what you're saying about what's happening with Palestinian genocide and the terrible things that are happening with the machinations of the governments of the world should never, in my opinion, be conflated with the actual peoples of the world. It's not, many Jewish people in the world are very angry and have been for decades about what the government of Israel has been doing on the occupation. Many Jewish people, including people like Rachel Corrie, God bless Rachel Corrie, she's a martyr for truth and justice, a Jewish American lady who got ran over defending Palestinian people and their right to live there. And we all know, I hope we all remember her. There's been a lot of people, both in and outside of the country of Israel, that have been fighting very hard against these negative policies, these policies that are not helping Jewish people or Arab people or anybody else. And I think it's part of a larger plan of the devil from about 1914 on to just divide every community they could. You had Germany had the largest Jewish community that was free and intermarrying with people, the largest Catholic and Protestant together community. So you had Catholics, Protestants, and Jewish people living together in harmony for generations. So the Austrian failed artist man named Adolf Schicklgruber, known to the world as Hitler, kind of went in there and decided to ruin Germany and trying to break up the goodness that there was. There was no other country where Jewish people were as free. There was no other country where Catholics and Protestants could sit in the same town and not kill each other as Germany. I'm not German at all by blood, by the way, but I love the people, Jewish, Gentile, every other kind of people that come from Germany. And really, it's the largest ethnicity of Americans, of whatever color you are. There's German blood running around and all kinds of people. 57 million people, I believe. And that was the kind of people that forced, in the 19th century, the so-called rights to be extended to people who had to fight for them. And so I say to all German Americans now, whether you're Gentile, Jewish, or atheist, or whatever you are, to remember your heritage. You were not welcome here the same way the Mexican people and Muslim people are often not welcome here now. We need to, again, bring the greatness of immigrants together. But back to you, great Minister Farrakhan. You have helped me in times of profound insanity, where I was looking to something in the internet that would be someone of a righteous position and also have a loving position. And you've always helped. I've watched all the 50 more hours of the time it was to be done. I've also watched the 6 hours of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's, the same. And we bring this in with the concept of also Madre Maria, muchas más idiomas sola inglés, no. You need to bring, we all need to bring ourselves together with the greatness of Chicago and the greatness of America, which allows, God has thought also in to the great, straight, very much righteous God thought that is offered by Minister Farrakhan. Minister, I hope that you live a long, long time. I hope your health continues to be guarded by many angels and by the goddess Mother Mary. Mosque Mariam is where you preach. It is Mary's church, really. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done for the world, for the black people, but for the world. Because when I learned more about what the nation had to say, eventually it's going to be other people are going to be able to join in with this, because we see that Master Farad's mother was, according to what a video you released when you were having your debate with the Iranian mullahs, they took the name that you were given by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and said that is a common name among very pale people in Azerbaijan, I believe. So Mr. Our God, Farad, was in fact a biracial person. That did not take away from his greatness. In fact, it added to it. And that's among the many things that I would say. Not that I would ever take away from what you've already accomplished. I'm not trying to take from anything. I'm just trying to let people know there's all kinds of people in the world who love and respect the minister. And that little thing I told you about, be careful who tells you anything, friend. Because there's people even close to you who might not always have your interest at heart and might not have God's interest at heart. Stay with your heart. You've always been so kind to the stranger, so kind to welcome people in. There's always been Caucasians who have been welcome in Moscow and in functions. You always would see a few people who would come and listen, because there's a respectfulness and a lovingness to knowing that a biracial man born in Mecca 1 year after the failure of Reconstruction in this country could come here and liberate black people, but all other people too. And that's what I hope for. So bless you, Minister. And please take that little thing I think of, I told you about, informed, in your consideration. Because really, honestly, we need to get together. We need to bring people together. We need to bring people together. We've got to avoid the idea that a government never represents the people it says it represents. American government doesn't necessarily represent the American people. The Israeli government has not represented Israeli or other Jewish people for a very long time. And we see that unraveling as more Jewish people are standing up against this evil genocide, as more other people are also holding hands with them to force the powers of the world to concede the goodness of people's power, which is Mother Earth's power, with the people of Mother Earth embracing God as we were meant to be. God bless you, and may you live a long and prosperous life henceforth, and may your ministry continue to prosper.